Hey everyone, this is Rex, and today I'm going to be going over the April 2022 patch notes for Everquest. There are going to be some interesting changes, some changes to spell lines, some changes to the anniversary quest, and some changes to raids. So let's get to it. For the highlights, they are adding 2 more missions for the 23rd anniversary. You can see the quests and events down below for details. I'll also be going over some of them. The replay timer will now apply their full duration upon completion of their associated task/quest. All NPCs have had their body type reviewed and potentially adjusted. Again, I'll go over the NPC changes down below for details. For items, Processing Gizmo, Oiled Cog, and Flickering Finkenheimer are all now flagged as quest items. The Choker of Entropy has had its AC adjusted to be more in line with intentions. The Honed Wormslayer and Invested Honed Wormslayer will no longer apply their effect on players under the required level of the item, which is currently level 105. Tidal Force and Eclipsed Light Armor ornaments will now show correctly when equipped on Froglocks. The Blessed Akivan Shadow Shears can now be converted to Aversion without stats and is usable by all classes and races. This is so anyone can take advantage of the tailoring skill mod. Magmatic Cecilod saddle size when placed in a housing plot will now better match other Ceciloid sizes. That's a mouthful. Remove the concept of recommended skill on equipment and added equivalent recommended levels to the following items: Gauntlets of the Blood Fiend, Girdle of Magnificence, Helm of the Vampiric Traitor, Jezekyl's Fervent Blade, and Kata's Staff of Peace. Alter the statistics on swarm pets summoned by Vicious Rabbit, Flute of the Dead, Burned Rabbit Foot, Vandir's Bane, Rune of Talon, both items, Spike Scale Whip, and Invested Spike Scale Whip. These changes reduce the health and DPS of these swarm pets. For quests and events, Close the Gate Raid. When Fly Liako dies, his aura will despawn. Also, fixed issues with the messaging about nightmares from Kratikel, Lord Misery. The Masked Invaders raid. The raid in Underfoot will no longer spawn a chest before the raid start. The Mad Emperor raid corrected an issue that caused the event lockout to be triggered on the death of any NPC rather than the chest. And for another one, credit should now be given for completing the Everything for Last achievement. They added the 23rd anniversary mission, Risky Rat Rescue, given by Driftor Minky and the Nexus, and another one called Whispers in the Dark, given by Spiritist Nathra and Shar Vahl. The Primal Vampire raid, the Boiling Blood Rage effect, will be removed on success and reset. This might help with occasional UI interactions that can be caused by charm. The Atenhara raid updated the base pop so that it can now drop the luck augment. Ostorm in the Temple of Sassalak Row now has a different method for allowing you to reset your specializations, and no longer requires the use of a ruby and will let you choose values to preserve for your primary, secondary, and tertiary specializations. Tasks with the replay timer between 1 and 6 hours have had their replay timer reduced by 20%. Replay timers will now apply their full duration upon completion of their associated task/quest. For spells, the Necromancer, they increased the maximum level focus limiter on Flesh to Venom from 115 to 120. They changed the Chaotic Power 10, used by Proclamation for Blood, now has no maximum level cap on its effectiveness and is slightly more powerful. For Rangers, the Strength of the Dusk Sage Stalker should no longer override Protection of the Valley and vice versa. Each will once again prevent the other from landing. This should be true for all spells in the line. For Paladin, they increased the damage and mana cost of Doctrine of Annulment. For Shaman, the Responsive Spirit and Attentive Spirit buffs healing ability will now work if the caster is sitting or ducking when the conditions are met to cast it. For Shadow Knight, the Remorselessness now focuses life tap spells up to level 120. For Enchanter, they fixed several errors in the descriptions for Subjugate and later spells in that line. Corrected an issue with effects such as Restless Ice not being removed when respawning to Bind, and made the following changes to specialization skills. They corrected an issue where the difference in specialization skills slowly disappeared starting with level 91, having been completely eliminated by level 120. Once a player is above level 40, their secondary specialization skill cap from secondary forte will be set to 50 skill points below the primary cap, while tertiary specializations are 100 points below the primary skill cap. This should smooth the difference in skill values from level 40 to 120. Characters over level 90 who had high 3rd, 4th, and 5th specialization skills have had those skills updated to be below the tertiary cap. You will now have to intentionally improve your specialization skill again. See Ostrom and the Temple of Susselik Row to reorder your skills. For NPCs, all NPCs have had their body type reviewed and potentially adjusted. They removed the distinction between summoned elementals and other constructs, insects and other animals, lycanthropes and other humanoids, vampires and other undead, distinguished figures of the Ring of Scale or the Claws of Vishon and other dragons, and distinguished figures of Kael Draco and other giants. All creatures that are not humanoid or animals require a magical weapon to attack. Creatures now uniformly belong to one of the following categories: special damage targets, Greater Akiva, Draz Norak, and Zek. For animals, non-magical living organisms, not plants, and not quite humanoids. Construct/elemental, conjured, elemental, or animated matter, including clockworks. Dragons, draconic creatures, dragons, drakes, worms, wyverns, excludes dinosaurs and draken. Extraplanar, death-touching creatures, typically the avatar of a god. Giants, large bipedal creatures descended from the creations of Ralos Zek. Humanoids, living non-magical sentient bipedal organisms. Why, yes we are. Magical creatures and anything that does not fit into another category. Plants, potentially sentient, living, photosynthetic, or fungus-based non-animal organism. Undead, deceased souls, optionally corporeal, distinct from animus spirits and other magical beings. For progression servers, Omens of War will open June 1st instead of May 25th on Mischief and Thornblade. Prophecy of Ro will open June 1st instead of May 25th on Aradune and Rizlona. Removed the auto AFK kick from Thornblade, and out of combat regeneration will now be available when Gates of Discord is unlocked. Miscellaneous changes. Fixed an issue that would prevent new zone instances from properly starting, which will reduce the load on zone servers. Fixed a bug that could prevent auras from detecting players. This will resolve issues where players are sometimes unable to enter the Mechametic Guardian, Caverns of Endless Song, or activate their guild hall portal. Fixed a bug that prevented mounted vendors from properly being hidden when hide traders or barterers is set. Pets of hidden vendors will now be hidden as well. Potentially fixed the client crash that could occur when processing buff and raids. Fixed an issue where pet illusion items would not properly summon the familiar when targeting another player. There are a few UI changes. Updated pet window to use a single template for buffs. Added a chat message when your pet spells are resisted. This message uses the pet spell's chat filter and is only visible to the pet's owner. The fellowship window will now display the correct last online time for leaders. Added parcels to the find item window, and added a clear tab text option to the chat window context menu, right-click menu as a shortcut for clear chat. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope you found it helpful knowing what's going to be coming up in the next patch. Like I said before, this isn't going to cover probably everything that's going to be in the patch, and there may be changes between now and then, but this is going to be a rough idea of what's going to be in the patch for live, since typically they will test it out on the test server before it goes to live. Now, that doesn't mean it's perfect. This is what you can expect to see. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It does greatly help out my channel. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe in Norath.